Hey Guardians, Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I'm pleased to present to you a new Stasis Warlock build that's about to be one of the most powerful builds in all of Destiny. When Season of the Wish launches, there's quite a few things that are changing, including some big upgrades to Stasis subclasses, new artifact mods, and some significant changes to some of the exotic armor pieces that have been underperforming. One of those is the Ballidorse Wrathweavers. This exotic gauntlet has been in the shadows of the Osmiumoncy ever since it was released. But with a few key adjustments to its intrinsic trait, it's about to provide Warlocks with one of the best sources of DPS, and it's going to make a perfect build for the endgame of Destiny. The Ballidorse comes with the Heart of the Ice. This increases the shatter damage of your super's heavy attack, which is called Shockwave. When you cast your super, a Stasis Overshield is going to be granted to you and any nearby ally, providing 50 points of additional health. Along with an Overshield, allies will also receive a ×4 weapon surge, granting any Stasis weapon a 25% increase in damage, lasting 15 seconds. This does not stack on top of weapon surge mods, but it will stack on top of Whisper of Rending, Empowering Rifts, Well of Radiance, and activity modifiers. After you've come out of your super, you will immediately receive your ×4 weapon surge, lasting 15 seconds. After Stasis subclasses received a significant nerf to their survivability just a few seasons ago, this will be a very significant and much needed improvement when using Stasis in in-game content. In addition to the damage bonus and Overshield that your super will provide, Ballidorse will now grant that same Overshield and a ×2 Stasis weapon surge to you and allies when casting a Frost Pulse Rift. This does require the use of the Frost Pulse aspect, which causes your rift to emit a pulse of freezing that will hit any enemy within 8 meters. The effects of Frost Pulse are getting upgraded in Season 23, which should provide much more consistent performance out of this ability. The damage bonus provided by the Rift will last for 10 seconds. It's unclear currently whether or not you'll be able to refresh this buff by stepping back into the Rift, but we'll be sure to follow up on that once Season 23 is live. Even if you're not able to refresh it, with 10 seconds of 17% bonus stasis damage, plus a 50-point Overshield against frozen enemies, you and your team should be able to make quick work out of any enemy that's standing in your way. Overall, these are some incredible changes getting made to the Ballidorse Wrathweavers, and along with several other adjustments that are being made to the Stasis subclass, you're looking at a build that's going to make a significant impact to your team's success. To complement the use of the Frost Pulse Rift, we are using the Ice Flare Bolts aspect. There are some key changes getting made to Glacial Grenades and the Bleak Watcher aspect, but since this build is focused around Ballidorse and Frost Pulses, the Ice Flares will make for better synergy. Whenever a frozen enemy shatters, Seekers will be generated that track down and freeze new enemies. This is going to create a ripple effect of freezing across a large group of enemies every time we cast a rift. Glacial Grenades will be getting a reduced cooldown as of Season 23, going from 150 seconds down to 120, so it might be more advantageous to use Glacial Grenades, especially since that can also provide you with a mobile source of cover. Currently, we are using Cold Snap Grenades for the synergy with Ice Flare Bolts. In Season 23, Cold Snap Grenades will see improvements made to their tracking capabilities and their overall performance. So honestly, both grenades are going to be very strong this season. As of Season 23, a number of fragments are getting augmented to provide different values towards your character's stats. But the only one that will play an impact, at least on this build, will be Whisper of Hedrons, which will no longer include a 10-point penalty to strength, which is going to help us recharge our Penumbral Blast. Penumbral Blast will be getting an increase to its detonation size, and it will now affect any targets within 2 meters. We are using Whisper of Chains, which grants 10 points bonus recovery, and it provides 40% damage reduction when you're within 10 meters of a frozen enemy or a stasis crystal. Whisper of Rime will provide us with a secondary source of obtaining stasis overshields. Whenever we collect a stasis shard, we'll gain health points based on the size of the shard. Small shards provide 5 points of health, with large shards providing 35 points. When at full health, shards will provide a 50-point stasis overshield, which will last 10 seconds. As I mentioned before, Whisper of Hedrons is another fragment we're using. Whenever we freeze an enemy, we'll gain a stat bonus, lasting 11 seconds, and it will be refreshed every time we freeze an enemy. This stat bonus provides 60 points extra mobility, resilience, and recovery to our base character stats. This also provides 30 points bonus weapon stability, 15 points bonus aim assist, and 20 points bonus airborne efficiency. Needless to say, there's a lot of benefits to be had from Whisper of Hedrons, especially in the end game of Destiny. Our final fragment is one that's going to help us deal out extra damage. Whisper of Rending provides primary weapons with a bonus of 50% against any frozen enemies, making any primary weapon we choose in our lineup that much more deadly. This bonus and damage will also stack with the bonuses that Ballidorse will provide, giving us a substantial advantage against any enemy. Now before we talk about the weapons and the armor that you'll need with this build, let's look into the seasonal artifact and take a look at what new mods that you'll want to have unlocked. Flame, Fiber, and Freeze combines Solar Strand and Solar Stasis Siphon mods into one, which can help save you a few armor slot mods if you're running a combination of these three. Origin specialization perks are always beneficial to have, and this season they'll benefit weapons with the new Dragon's Vengeance origin trait, and Head Rush, Noble Deeds, and Unsated Hunger. From Whence You Came will be great to use when facing up against Scorn and Taken enemies, as it will provide a small bonus in ability damage against these enemies. Pillar of Ice will help us out greatly, since killing a frozen enemy will spawn a stasis crystal. And as a perfect complement to this, Hail the Storm is in the final column, and it will cause additional shatter damage from frozen enemies and stasis crystals. And whenever these are shattered, these will now deal out area damage that slows nearby targets. Dragon's Bite will cause stasis weapons to have a chance of freezing enemies whenever breaking their shields, which is going to pair up really nicely with the rest of these mods, and this does include barrier champions. There's a few other really good mods to consider using this season, but that's really going to rely on your choice in heavy, because it's looking like rocket launchers may be back in the spotlight. Blast Radius is available this season, so rapid final blows with rocket launchers provide an armor charge. And with Argent Ordnance, whenever we ready and fire a rocket launcher, an armor charge will be consumed to apply a bonus in damage. It's unclear as of yet how much of a bonus this will be, but most likely it's going to be between 10 and 20%. Ultimately, this will be a substantial bonus when using rocket launchers like the Cold Comfort, which we have with Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch, so it's already receiving a 35% increase to its damage, plus what Ballidorse provides. Rocket launchers will also get the benefit of stunning overload champions and causing disruption to all enemies, so rocket launchers should be pretty OP in Season 23. The final mod I want to talk about is for all the solo players. Solo Operative is back, and it gives solo players a bonus of 15% to all weapon damage and all ability damage. An amazing mod to those who are running solo Grandmasters, dungeons, and other content. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the weapons that we want with this build. In the kinetic slot, we're looking at the Wicked Implement, a perfect scout rifle to stun overloads and unstoppables, and if you play it out right, you can even prevent barriers from casting shields, plus it creates its own stasis shards. And so does Vergless Curve, which would also make a great exotic bow to put in the kinetic slot. But Conditional Finality is getting better and better with age, and since we're weaponizing our Rift, it's going to work out beautifully. What's even better for the Conditional Finality and all other special stasis weapons is that these weapons will get improved freezing damage in Season 23. The Malfeasance will also be great to use in combination with the From Whence You Came artifact mod, so that we can deal even more damage to taken enemies. In our energy slot, the Abyss Defiant is one of the preferred auto rifles right now, coming with heal clip and incandescent. And with sidearms handling barrier champions, it's a good time to break out Brigand's Law, especially if you've got Volt Shot, so that we can double down on our ability to take out barrier and overload champions. I already talked about the Cold Comfort being a great heavy choice, but the Reed's Regret will make an excellent DPS choice in those long engagements, especially when it comes with triple tap and firing line, a near replica of the Taipan, but in stasis form. The Fire and Forget is also a great option here. When looking at legendary weapons, the ones that will have the greatest impact will be the ones that include Headstone or Chill Clip, or in the case of the Zephyr Stasis Sword, Cold Steel. Up next, let's talk about the armor and armor mods that you'll need to maximize your efficiency with the Ballidorse. High recovery means faster rift regeneration, which is a primary focus both in our character stats and armor mods. End-game content means resilience needs to be high, even if we have overshields. Intellect will be just as imperative to focus on, since our main benefits are going to come from casting our super. This holds true even with our selection in armor mods. Bungie is implementing some changes to how armor mods work in relations to abilities and how their cooldowns function, but all in all, this should provide more consistency to how different perks and abilities perform. With that being said, we're using Dynamo on our helmets to give us bonus super energy when casting a rift, and with a Harmonic Siphon mod, we'll generate orbs of light when getting stasis weapon final blows. With frozen enemies all around you, the natural instinct is going to be to press the melee button. So on the Wrathweavers, we're using 3 focusing strike mods, which grants 20% class ability energy whenever dealing melee damage. On our chest armor, the main focus is resistance, to match whatever activity that we're in. And since there's no point in using weapon surge mods, we can focus our boot mods towards abilities and health regeneration. So with the Better Already mod, we'll gain 40 points of health whenever collecting an orb. We'll gain 10% extra grenade energy thanks to the use of Innervation, and 5% energy getting applied to each ability thanks to Absolution, giving us a lot of additional regeneration towards our abilities so that we can take advantage of Ballidor's benefits. We round out this harmony with our class item, which we're using Utility Kickstart, which is going to drain our armor charges and convert it into class ability energy. Since we'll have at most 3 armor charges to be converted, this would apply between 12 and 22% additional class ability immediately after casting our rift. We're also using the Reaper mod on our class item, so that when we cast our rift, our next weapon kill will generate an orb. So between orbs, shards, and abilities, we're going to have constant health regeneration and overshields to keep us alive. And we'll have a ton of overpowered abilities and weapons to dominate the endgame of Destiny in Season 23. And with that, we've come to an end of this new Stasis Warlock build, featuring an exotic that I never thought I'd actually be using, the Ballidorse Wrathweavers. I will be leaving a Destiny item manager link in the description below, so be sure to check that out to make a copy of today's build. And while you're down there, be sure to check out the Discord link and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's build and what builds you're looking forward to using next week. Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated and both really do help support the channel. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy holidays and happy hunting.